Today, we're definitely fortunate to have Jenn Gordon speak with us, too. Jenn joined WTVP as CEO and President in April of 2024. That date's right.
Yeah.
Over the last decade, she's championed the local arts and cultural scene in Central Illinois while working with organizations to promote nonprofit health and community engagement, which we really appreciate from the Art Week. She previously served as Executive Director for Arts Partners of Central Illinois, where she launched several new arts initiatives and programs, including Sculpture Walk Peoria and Sky Art Peoria, while serving as host for WCBU's weekly Out and About radio show. Prior to that, she worked in New York City for the prestigious piano maker Steinway & Sons, managing concert and art activities for 800 of the world's top pianists, including Billy Joel, Harry Connick Jr., and Lang Lang. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. She's a graduate of the University of Illinois and the Interlochen Arts Academy, where she studied violin performance. Jenn and her husband, Eric, are both natives of Central Illinois and love raising their 3 young children here in their hometown. So again, Peoria-Rotary North, we're happy to have Jenn Gordon from WTVP.
Well, that was such a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I am from Peoria, and I love living in Peoria and doing life here. I was connecting with John, my singer, before lunch today, and I said, "Do you have a daughter named Kelly?" And he said, "Maybe." And Kelly and I went to grade school together. So it's just like all of these connections that you have when you live, work, and play and do life in a community over a whole lifetime. So so thrilled to be here. I started at WTVP just about 10 months ago, which is kind of crazy. It's already been 10 months. And one of the reasons why I wanted to step into that position was because our community needs thriving assets and nonprofit organizations that are pouring into our current generation and our younger generation, and helping to educate, inform, and inspire. And that's what our mission is at WTVP. It's to build awareness, it's to be connecting people and empowering our community through quality content that's educating, informing, and inspiring. At WTVP, we actually produce we distribute 46,000 hours of content every year. I'm gonna say that one more time because it boggles my mind every time I say it. 46,000 hours of broadcast content every year to 17 counties in Central Illinois. So it's a really wide service area. Obviously, we're located right in the heart of Peoria at the corner of State and Water. And we have 5 broadcast channels, which is just pretty unique and fantastic. We have our WTVP main station. We have the remote station, which emerged during COVID to assist with learning and providing educational lesson plans and opportunities for kids to learn online. We have Create, which is kind of a DIY station, and then we have World, and of course we have PBS Kids. In terms of our reach, we have just an incredible reach here. About 200 households are tuning in, 200,000 households are tuning in every month to WTVP's broadcast stations. And then with our digital reach that we have, we're getting actually close to 900,000 streams every month through just our kids' digital programming that we offer, which is really, really huge. So just lots of opportunities for us to be reaching out and connecting with our community. A little bit about me. Again, I did grow up here in Peoria, went to what was then called Roosevelt Magnet School, and got introduced to the arts there. I like telling people that I didn't come from a family that had a lot of money. My parents were both grade school teachers, and I love that they were both grade school teachers, but they always made time to make sure that we were learning quality things. So even though they didn't have a lot of money, they made time for me to take violin lessons because they wanted me to learn about violin. Now, they didn't have enough money for us to go to symphony concerts, but PBS, WTVP comes in. I remember very vividly my dad one time turning on Great Performances on WTVP PBS and sitting me down in front of the TV and saying, I want you to watch this. And it was a New York Philharmonic performance. And I sat there and I just started playing violin. I was about 7 years old. And he said, you could do this someday. someday you could do this. And when you pair that type of inspirational experience with quality local learning opportunities, which I was fortunate to have because I lived here in Peoria, Illinois, with great resources like Kidder Music that I could rent a violin from. My parents could rent a violin from when I was little, and connect with great music teachers. Then you can grow up and do that art. And so I ended up pursuing violin all the way through college. I got my undergraduate degree in violin performance. Is it okay if I take this off? I'm going to take this off. Okay, which is probably the most useless degree that you can get. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and I still enjoy playing when I can. But the principles that I got to learn during that whole process was the value of creativity, the value of tenacity, of leaning through and performing and connecting and teamwork and harmony, creating harmony. When I stepped into the job at WTVP, there was quite a bit of discord with the station. And in a lot of, I've often had people ask me the question, why would you want to go near that at all? And aside from the fact that I didn't want to see it go away in our community, there's a deep, deep, deep value in my heart to go into places where there's discord and to try and create harmony and to make music. And administrators can do that, and CEOs can do that, and executive directors can do that. And if you're here because you care about the future of Peoria and you care about pouring into Peoria as Rotarians and creating harmony, making the place that we live a more harmonious place to live. So that's a little bit about why I was interested in stepping into this challenge. And I'm so excited about where we've come from and where we're going. WTVP has a long legacy here in Peoria, and I'm trying to think, we all have our favorite shows that we watch and reasons why we tune in, but the station's been here for over 50 years. Does anyone here remember when it was at Bradley? Yes, yeah, okay, great. In 2000, we moved down to State and Water. And we've been through a lot of significant challenges through those times. In 2008, there was the Save the Station initiative, which I don't know if anyone here remembers, but that was kind of a critical season for WTVP, and we made it through. The community raised $2 million in just a couple of months to ensure that the station would not go dark as they were navigating kind of a digital upgrade. So the challenges that the stations come through, I just take so much comfort and encouragement from, because we have a community that truly does believe in the value of public television. One of the things that I also just love about what we do is we are really doing that public-private partnership, right? So we get funding, some federal funding that comes down, and I know there's a lot of questions right now that are swirling around about federal funding, but the truth is, if you are involved with a non-for-profit, which raise your hand if you're involved with a non-for-profit here. Like every non-for-profit is in the midst of these questions about federal funding and the impact. But regardless, non-for-profits are grounded in their communities and the people who love them. So I have no doubt that we're going to be able to make it through whatever is ahead of us because of the love and the support that we receive from people right here in Peoria and in the 17 counties that we serve. Some of the things that I am really excited about future, this is a big month for us at WTVP in March here. We're bringing back 40 Leaders Under 40. Do we have any alumni of 40 Leaders Under 40 in this room? Excellent, yes, round of applause for all of you. When I first took the job, had an immediate conversation with the board to see, with kind of the limited resources we were working with, what our priorities were going to be. And obviously the first is stabilizing the station financially, making sure that we're going to be in a good shape as we move forward, and working through those pieces. But then 40 Leaders Under 40 came up right away. It's like, gosh, this program has such a long legacy in our community. And because we had acquired the magazine several years ago, we had also acquired the program of 40 Leaders Under 40. And so immediately we went to work to try and say, how can we bring this back with excellence? How can we make sure that this stays here? And then also, how can we leverage who we are as a station to further amplify and tell the stories of these young leaders that we have in our community, because at the end of the day, that's what WTVP is, right? We're producing and distributing and telling the stories, local stories of leaders that are making a difference in our community. So on March 18th at the Paradise Hotel, we're going to be having our WTVPs, because we're it's a WTVP brand now, inaugural 40 under 40 class. So we're really excited, and we're really excited. Fundamentally, we wanted to bring a little bit of a shift to the program and ensure that we were going to be welcoming to folks from all industries and all sectors. So as you come to our website and check out our list of recipients for this year, you're going to notice there's a lot of nonprofits represented, and we've got just a lot of leaders that are working not just in the corporate sector, but also in the educational sector and in the service organization sector and in the nonprofit sector, really making a difference in our community. So we're just really excited about that. Another thing that we've brought back, and I'm very excited about, is a local partnership with the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria. So last month we brought back this partnership where we could be televising mayoral debates. And so last month we had our mayoral debate, primary debate election, or debate that we had with the 3 candidates. I hope everyone gets out the vote here coming. And then in March, we're going to have a follow-up just for the general election for the mayoral debate. So we'll have the 2 finalists back at WTVP. And this is just, again, really core to our mission to make sure that we're getting out local programming into our community that's reflecting our community. Does anyone have any favorite local shows on WTVP that they like to watch? I'd like to ask. Anybody? Yes.
Antique Roadshow.
Antique Roadshow. Okay, yes, Antique Roadshow is huge favorite. Very good. With our locally produced shows, so in addition to having the PBS and content that we're kind of distributing through, we produce some really fantastic local shows, including At Issue with Mark Welp. This is a great day to speak at Rotary, because Thursday we have a lot of local content that's coming up. So At Issue with Mark Welp, where he's interviewing folks and talking about regional issues of concern. And then we have, everyone know Christine Zach in this room. So she does our Consider This, which is kind of a local personalities show. She does that once a week. And then we also have You Gotta See This, which is just a phenomenal, what we call a field production. And there are at least a couple folks here that are going to be featured in that coming up. So I ask you to all keep your eyes peeled for that one. And I'm going to ask our wonderful AV gentleman, Mr. Jeffrey, bring up our website so you guys can take a look at some of the stuff that we have. A lot of people think about public broadcasting, because broadcasting is in it, as just being appointment television. And if you're like me, you don't do appointment television. That was something that you did 20 years ago, but you're not necessarily making your schedule each day saying like, well, on Thursday night at 7 p.m. I'm going to watch a show. And what we've been doing, and what we will do over the next 5 years, is help audiences connect with content on their schedule and on their time. I had a gentleman actually at Rotary Downtown, that I was talking to, and he said, I absolutely love Austin City Limits, but you have to change the time. And I said, okay, well, tell me about your concerns. And he says, well, it doesn't air until 10 p.m. I'm always in bed at 10 p.m. and it's not working for me. What can you do about it? And so I got out my phone and I went click, 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 click. And I was like, well, you can watch it anytime you want. And his eyes just like popped open. He's like, what? And I said, yeah, that is the direction that we are moving into. And this is the new, the new phase of content that we can connect people with. So one of the things I wanted to have you check out here on our website, if you go to Watch, the Watch tab, and then go to Watch on Demand, we try and provide as many on-ramps to our content as possible. So in addition, again, to those 46,000 hours of broadcast that you can access if you just have a digital antenna on your TV for free, you can also go online to WTVP.org and watch any of our local shows. You can see here's the debate that we have, and if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see these are just some highlights of our local shows. Mark Welp, Christine Zach, Shot of Egg is a phenomenal show that we have where we partner with Rob Sharkey. He's a farmer and also just kind of has this huge podcast following in the egg world. And he is just delightful. He's very, very funny and is just really diving into some really fun local and regional agricultural issues. You got to see this. You can see that's next. And then EcoWatch is a quarterly show that we do focusing on environmental issues pertinent here in the state of Illinois. So that's another fun one. And then I'm going to have you scroll over just a little bit. We did also drop a local documentary. Oh, and that's fine. You can keep that right there.
At WTVP PBS, we rely on our members to bring you local.
There I am. I do a little introduction. But we did just drop a documentary for McLean County, the early days. And I'm going to just pause there because when I first heard that we were doing a documentary on McLean County, the early days, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so boring. Like, this sounds like so quintessentially like PBS, but I'm gonna tell you, like, this is an amazing documentary, and it is so beautiful. Actually, Jeff, if I can have you go back to that screen and just play just a little bit of it after I do my little intro, so you can scroll ahead maybe a little bit. Because so we had a researcher and a producer, and they were working with the Clinton County historians, and this is like 26 minutes of just delightful entertainment, but it's entertainment that is educational and informative, and it's connecting you with your region and with your community. And
to Evergreen Memorial Cemetery in Bloomington unearths the historical bones of McLean County. Everywhere you look, there are names of residents who shaped the fabric of their time. Two Adleys rest here. The senior Adley Stevenson was Vice President of the United States. Adley II, who was actually the senior Adley's grandson, served as governor of Illinois from 1949 to 1953. Justice David Davis served on the U.S. Supreme Court and was instrumental in the election of Abraham Lincoln. A tree carving marks the gravesite of Old Hoss Radburn, a baseball record holder who was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1939. Dorothy Gage, the little girl who was the impetus for Dorothy in the book The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, also has a carved marker. Civil rights leader Belle Blue Claxton led the effort to desegregate the beaches at Miller Park in Bloomington. And Illinois State University founder Jesse Fell helped to establish 2 counties and several towns. Your visit with history could go on and on as you peruse the etched monuments among towering trees spread across 87 acres. However, 20,000 years before these recent individual contributions, the last ice age was making its significant impact on central Illinois. As the frozen sheet receded, it left in its wake the makings of fertile soil that eventually would earn McLean County the title, the Buckle of America's Corn Belt.
And it is this titanic struggle really between ice and rock and the grinding of rock that lays this fertile debris down, this debris field, and then through the centuries with first forests and then grasslands, creating an extremely rich soil that Euro-American farmers had made use of for 2 centuries now.
So you get a little taste of the type of quality of work that we're producing out of our studio. So it's a small but very, very talented team. The producer on that one is Todd Pilon and H. Wayne Wilson. Just really top-notch camera work and editing and everything. So we are really excited to continue to work to document our history, to connect people with our history, and also to be really connecting everyone here with currently what's going on in our community. I'm so excited. We had just last week several choirs from Illinois Central College were in the studio, and we're recording another showcase for our upcoming March membership drive, just highlighting the local musicians, Dr. Julie Clemens and Dr. Ron Cleese. Boy, I always mispronounce his name. Key Sweater, I got it right. Okay, Key Sweater. Very talented director in the studio to just record their students. And that's what we want to be all about, is being this point of contact for our community. It's fascinating with the emergence of cell phones and with screens and digital content. You'd think that it would just innately bring us closer together, but we know that it has actually spurred up quite a bit of isolation. And because people now are just connecting independently on their phones rather than sitting in front of a TV with, 5 other people watching something and experiencing content together. But we believe that WTVP is going to play a critical role in, I'm going to use the word like redeeming content, because when we talk about right now, on average, 7 hours on average, the average American spends 7 hours a day in front of their screen. 7 hours a day. And we know that they're out of the universe of content, there's probably about a pen dot worth of content that is worth watching. And the rest is, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down, there's so much just negative content or distracting content or purposeless content. And at WTVP, I like to tell people it's like you're walking into a museum. It's like you're going into one of the world's best museums, and you've got a gallery that's full of history. You've got a gallery that's full of fine art. You've got a gallery that's full of learning how to do fine cuisine and cooking, and a gallery full of science, and it's curated, and it's not overwhelming, but it is a really great amount of content, but it's quality, and it's really, really focused on quality that's going to be good for your brain, and good for content that's good for your brain and good for your heart. So I do believe that we have a critical role as we move forward into the future days of providing that quality content and really influencing people. I know that word was used a little bit earlier tonight, influencing people to let them know that we're out there. There's so many people that I connect with, particularly parents with younger kids, who know that PBS Kids is a thing that we have, but they haven't experienced what we offer for adults and what we offer for college students and high school students, or any of the more grown-up content. My daughter's 10, and she enjoyed PBS Kids while she was a little bit younger, and now she watches Nova and Nature and Big Cats with me and All Creatures Great and Small, and there's just all of this fantastic programming that we can share with intergeneration. So I'm so excited about what we do. The future is very, very, very bright. And of course, we do need our community support, and we will have our community support as we go into the future. So I just want to thank you in advance for everyone who watches WTVP. If you haven't in a while, make today or this weekend the time that you reconnect with your local public broadcasting station. There's over 330 PBS station affiliates across the country. What's unique about ours is we're one of the small grouping that is community owned. So it means we're not run by a university, we're not run by a state agency, we are community owned and operated. Super unique. We've been that way since we started, and we're so thrilled to continue to be here. And it's easier now than ever for you to connect with WTVP. There's some flyers on everyone gets a program guide, and I've got extras in the back there so you can see everything that we're offering this month. But you can also download the PBS app and just type in your zip code, and it will localize to WTVP. You can stream on demand all of our local content and a good chunk of PBS content as well right through that app. So I just encourage you to take time to reconnect with WTVP. We love having visitors, so if any of your groups want to come and have a tour at the station, we would love to walk you through, introduce you to the team, and just reconnect you with WTVP. So that's a little bit of what I wanted to talk about today, and I would love to take any questions.
with all those potential viewers and all the quality content and everything, is it sustainable enough? Should federal funding be cut? Can you pivot to a more market-based operation, because that seems to be a possibility?
Yes. So here, I thought I was getting through all of the really exciting hurdles. And then now there are some new ones coming down the pipeline. But I'll tell you, I think absolutely. First of all, I think that public media is an incredibly easy case to make from a bipartisan support. I'm actually going to be in DC next week, meeting with our representatives and talking about the value, the bipartisan value for public media. But even that being said, the way that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is funded through the federal government, they work on a 2-year out basis. So fiscal year 25 funding would not be impacted whatsoever, which gives us a little bit of a runway to pivot. And I just feel like if you've got a runway, you can pivot. It's hard if you don't have any runway. So I'm also going to say that from all the other CEOs I've talked to from stations across the country, every time there's a change in administration, there is advocacy that has to happen. Oftentimes we see Corporation for Public Broadcasting and funding for public media on the chopping block whenever budgets are being decided for an upcoming 4-year administration. So that's not, this is not new territory. It's definitely getting more press and this time around. So I think it's something that we can navigate effectively and that we will navigate effectively. But if we needed to pivot, we would be able to pivot. Again, it accounts for about 30% of our budget. And I am fully confident that we would be able to find a way forward. That's a great question. Yeah.
I was wondering, have you ever done programs on apprenticeships that are available in the Peoria area?
Oh, I don't know that we have, but that would be a fantastic idea.
The reason I asked, he mentioned that he wanted to be in welding, and I asked him if he was involved with any apprenticeships in Peoria area. And the reason I asked that is I was in Norway a couple of years ago at a family thing, and I'd ask these young people, I'd say, where did you go to college? I didn't go to college. I said, what'd you do? I said, I served apprenticeship on a sonar ship. And I said, what do you do now? He said, I run the sonar ship.
That's amazing.
Next one, where'd you go to college? I didn't go to college. I served apprenticeship on an oil rig. And I said, now what do you do? I run the oil rig. Next one, where'd you go to college? I didn't go to college. Apprenticeship partner or carpenter. Next one, apprenticeship electrician. I didn't run into anybody on the whole island that had ever went to college. And then I noticed here in Peoria that we do at the carpenters or carpet laying union, they do have apprenticeships. And at the I think it's electrical, they have apprenticeships here in Peoria. But I think these young people that don't want to go to college or can't afford to go to college need to be aware of apprenticeships. I think it'd be a good program if you could get into it.
It's fantastic. I just want to underscore, anyone who has ideas like that, please feel free to email us at the station, because we want as much community input as possible. We are going to be doing another program survey that'll go out to all of our members and our viewers, and I please encourage you to take it, because that helps us know where we can focus the resources that we have in capturing those stories. We did do, if you go back and watch You Gotta See This, we did an episode that was on a micro apprenticeship program that the Dream Center is running for youth in the area, and that's a fun one. It's a little different than kind of what you're talking about, but that is a really cool episode to watch. It's great.
One more quick thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever connected with like ICC Bradley, people who make their own movies, make their own media things and trying to put it on there?
Yeah, so right now we're working with, actually our friends at WCBU have been working on a documentary on homelessness. And so we're working on partnering with them to distribute that documentary. And that's something that is really fascinating. Not only are we a conduit for, like Masterpiece and Nova and those big programs from PBS, and not only do we produce our own studio shows and our own field shows, but we can also distribute locally produced shows. So that would be an example of that with WCBU. We've also partnered in the past with the Farm Bureau for a documentary on rural versus urban agriculture, which is really, really fascinating. So as often as we can, when people reach out to us and say, hey, we've got this product that's really well done, would you distribute it for us? And there's no exchange of funding or anything like that. As long as it doesn't, there's certain guidelines we have to live within, to make sure it doesn't come across as a commercial or a promotional piece. But we try and work with people to make sure that we can give airtime and distribute content. Yeah.
With the restructuring of WTVP, can you talk a little bit about who's on your team and what they accomplish?
Yes. Oh, I love that. So as most of you probably know, back in January of last year, the board nearly flipped entirely, which is one of the reasons I was interested in pursuing the opportunity. So it's a fantastic board of directors led by John Wheeland, who's our chairman, and then Dr. Andy True, who's our vice chairman. And then for the team, I have Michael Eckhart, who is our Chief Development Engagement Officer. He's brand new. He's just doing a fantastic job building community connections in the area. Megan Eschleman is our Corporate Support Manager. So if you ever want to have a tour again at the station or just connect or bring in a group of people, I'm looking at Tony. Tony is over there. Yeah, Tony was at the station we partnered with the Salvation Army and we had one of their events at the station just as a way to help them out and be good neighbors. And then we have a production team of about 5 people on our production team. It's pretty small. We have part-time crew that come in as needed for studio shows. And then development team, total I have about 16 full-time employees, which is a very lean staff. If you rewound 24 months, the station had about 25, 26 employees. So we're operating on a very lean team, but they are super jazzed and excited about our mission and the vision for the future.